And then Europeans arrived in the Americas, and everything changed, in the darkest possible way. Columbus himself brought sugarcane cuttings on his second voyage to the Caribbean in 1493. The tropical climate and rich soils of the Caribbean islands were perfect for sugarcane. Within decades, Hispaniola, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Brazil were producing sugar at scales the Old World had never seen. But sugarcane farming was brutal, back-breaking work. It had to be cut by hand in intense tropical heat, processed immediately before the juice fermented, and the mills ran 24 hours a day during harvest season. The work was so grueling and the death rate so high that the initial workforce, indigenous peoples of the Caribbean, was essentially wiped out within a generation through overwork, disease, and violence. The solution the colonial powers chose was catastrophic in its scale and its cruelty: the transatlantic slave trade. Between the 16th and 19th centuries, approximately 12.5 million Africans were forcibly taken from their homes and transported to the Americas. The majority, roughly 60 to 70%, were sent specifically to work in sugar production in Brazil and the Caribbean. The conditions on sugar plantations were among the most brutal in the entire history of slavery. Life expectancy for enslaved people on Caribbean sugar plantations was shockingly short. Some estimates suggest that on the most brutal Jamaican plantations, the average enslaved person survived only 7 to 10 years after arrival. Planters calculated that it was cheaper to work people to death and replace them than to maintain their health. The scale of suffering is almost impossible to comprehend. Millions of people lost their lives, their families, their cultures, and their freedom, so that Europeans could sweeten their tea. And European consumers knew. They chose not to care.